All right, we are at chapter 12. This is the second half of the two-part section on hate crimes. The first one we talked about what a hate crime is, to find it. This one we're going to talk about some of the reporting strategies, some of the groups that monitor hate crimes, and something to do as a community. Our learning objectives for this chapter are: discuss the nationwide reporting system for crime data collection for hate crimes, identify some of the hate groups and some of the organizations that monitor them, and develop community relations response strategies to help to reduce hate crimes. Now, why do we record data on hate crimes? Just like we record data on any crimes, you want to be proactive in addressing the crimes, identify the current problems, and train your criminal justice professionals on how to respond to hate crimes. The Congress passed the federal hate crime legislation back in 1990. That created the Federal Hate Crime Statistics Act, and the hate crimes were reported through the UCR, which is the Uniform Crime Report, which goes directly to the FBI. If you remember from chapter, I believe it's 2 of our AJ 100 class, we talked about the UCR, what it is, what it does, and what it can do for you. It's available online. Go to the UCR or FBI UCR and you'll find it. Now, there are several private organizations that monitor hate groups and provide information for you in law enforcement. One of the ones I use a lot of is the Southern Poverty Law Center. They have the intelligence report. I've got a picture here of one of the latest magazines. It comes out every 2 months. I subscribe to it. Keep back copies in my office. Every once in a while, put them out in the room for people to read. Great intelligence information on hate crimes. They mainly focus on white supremacist groups, and also they looked at immigration groups that are anti-immigration, that are violent. So, Southern Poverty Law Center has identified over 1,000 active hate groups in the United States in 2012, including the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, white nationalists, black separatists, anti-gay, radical traditional Catholic, all kinds of them. If you're a group, it doesn't necessarily have to be Caucasians or whites that are hate crime people. We have black groups that are hate crimes. We have Mexican groups. We have Central American groups that are hate crimes. Cuban groups that do hate crimes. You name it. If you're a group and you hate, some people have organized them. The Anti-Defamation League deals with crimes against Jewish people. Again, as we discussed last module, the Jews have been the subject of discrimination for many, many years, for centuries. You look back in early stories of the Bible, they're in there about the Jews being oppressed. But the Anti-Defamation League looks for fair treatment of its citizens. Simon Wiesenthal Center here in Los Angeles. It's a great resource. It's a museum. It's over on the west side. I can't remember the address exactly. I think it's over on Pico. But it's a great resource. One of the extra credit assignments you can do for this class is to go to Simon Wiesenthal and look at the museum. And they have information with law enforcement. It has great training classes for law enforcement. I unfortunately have not been able to go over there, but I will sooner or later. Get a chance to get some time in my schedule to go over there and take some of the training center. I have looked at a lot of the resources they've had, though, and it's a great resource. And I've talked to a lot of the executives that have been to that training, and they say it's some of the best training they've been to. National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, just like the name says, they are out there to help the people that are being the victim of hate crimes because of their sexual preference. Larger cities with large LGBT populations like San Francisco, Long Beach, Austin, Texas, New York City, they have specialized task force. On your response to hate crimes, organized hate crimes especially, you need as a law enforcement agency to control these hate groups. You can use these resources I just talked about to assess the size and scope of the organizations. They can give you contacts of who in law enforcement might be the person to contact when you're investigating a hate crime, and you think that might be, say, a skinhead or something. You go to these organizations, they can say, oh, let's talk to this detective over here. He or she might know about it. Great for training too. Some of the trends in organized hate groups are the newer members are younger. Younger people are more you can influence them easier, and so a lot of them haven't found their way yet, and some of them join gangs, and one of those gangs they might join is a hate group. Internet's the most common form of recruiting right now. If you have kids, pay attention to your kids on the internet. I know a lot of you are still young adults, but I know I have some folks that are in their late years, and they have teenage kids right now, so take a look at the internet and what they're doing. Community profiling, know what your community is made up of. If you have a large Jewish community, what might be your major hate crime? Of course, anti-Jew stuff. And so these people that do hate crimes, they love holidays and observances because that's when they have to get the most bang for the buck. If they do something during Ramadan, which is not a holiday but it's a Muslim religious observance, or during Easter for the Christians, or during Rosh Hashanah and other holidays for the Jews. They look for these holidays, and that's when they try to do something bad because it gets the most bang for the buck, gets the most publicity in the paper. Community can also provide you information, intelligence about what's going on in their community, what they might see, what they might know. Neighborhood policing, the basic thing behind neighborhood policing, community policing, is to get to know your community. Get out there and get to know your community, and it only works good when the whole community is involved. Your officer working the street, your beat cop working the street has the best idea of what's going on in the community a lot of times. Some communities have human resources commissions, especially larger cities. LA has one, New York has one, I know San Francisco has one. They don't do the criminal investigations. You do that if you're a police officer, but they can give you information on complaints that are coming into them, some intelligence you can use to investigate your crime. The nationwide, they have the United States Department of Justice has the Community Relations Service, founded in 1964. They can give you a ton of information on data on what they have when it comes to hate crimes and the different groups that might be victims of hate crimes. Some other community-based solutions might be a victims hotline. You see those a lot. I've seen those a lot more often now, the 1-800 crime tip type things. Talked about the Human Relations Commissions. Media. I tell you, the media can be your best friend sometimes. If you develop good relationships, nurture relationships with the media, when you're out there looking for something, they can help you out. Police storefronts, those are, instead of having just one precinct downtown, they have different areas where you're actually embedded in the community. Even the Highway Patrol does that. They used to have one in Castro Valley, now they turned it into an area office. But they have that community storefronts. So let's recap what we just talked about in the last 10 minutes here. We discussed a nationwide reporting system for hate crime data collection. We talked about some of the extremist hate groups and organizations that monitor them, the Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, stuff like that, and some response strategies, storefronts, community policing, using human rights commissions to help you out doing your criminal investigations. Don't forget to read the chapter, get all that stuff out of the chapter in the book, the textbook. There's also discussion boards for the online class, and there's also an assessment for this module.